Why packaging printers would always prefer Gravure. Before I go into detail, I know that this is quite controversial. And don't get me wrong, my mission here is just especially educating about Gravure, Gravure manufacturing, Gravure industry. I'm an expert with Gravure and Gravure manufacturing. I'm not an expert with Flexo, offset or digital. I know about the process, but I'm not an expert. So whenever I talk about things like that, which is quite a controversial topic, I might be a bit biased towards Gravure. So feel free to challenge my statements in the comments. I'm more than happy to read through them and learn from you. Now, due to my LinkedIn engagement, and when I'm speaking, I realize that there are, as I said, a lot of controversial debates about the competitiveness of common printing technologies in the packaging industry. And while every technology has its pros and cons, there are a few undoubted strengths of Gravure that every Gravure packaging printer appreciates. Number one would be you never waste a tool. Whereas a decade ago, a cylinder was only used, let's say 1 or 2 times throughout its life cycle, Gravure printers have become so good and efficient at recycling them that they nowadays get used numerous times and there is no limitation to it. In other words, cylinder stock management is a huge topic. We all, and I'm saying you as a Gravure printer, we as Gravure cylinder manufacturers, usually have a challenge with logistics and our stock load. Almost all of us are always evaluating possibilities on how can we reduce our stock and how can we improve our stock management. And this has not become less challenging when we have been ordering new bases over and over and over, because this problem, this issue, has only exponentially grown. And that's why I'm saying over the years, we all realized that we can't go on like that. So we must do the best with our bases. And therefore, I'm saying Gravure printers have become very efficient using existing bases, installing smart stock management at the supplier side. If I'm saying smart is, now how many tools do you as an engraver need from me as a Gravure packaging printer to efficiently run and manage our jobs? Saying that, okay, you are getting an order, you need 6 tools, I'm sending you the right tools in the right size in order to make sure that I have as less cost as possible, I have a lead time that is competitive. And now that you get those tools, even if there is something wrong with 1 or 2 of them, you have a smart stock management where you always have something available that you can use in emergency cases. What is not smart? Just sending 100 of tools without actually making use of them. And we've experienced that in the past where we had tools here which just lingered here for months and years. That is actually not efficient use and management. That's why we nowadays challenge our customers, but both. We ask them, okay, how can we improve the process? What can we do and what can you do in order to make sure that we only have as much tools here to make sure that whenever there is an emergency case, to handle it, and at the same time, don't overload our stock and don't over-challenge your logistics, because every tool that you don't send out, that you don't have to touch in your stock, is saved money by the end of the day. Let's go on to the next one. Number 2 is consistency stays superior. It doesn't matter if you just started your job for the first time or you run it for the 2nd, 3rd or 4th time. It doesn't matter if you print 5, 10, 20,000 meters or you print over 1 million running meters or square meters, whatever. You will always, with Gravure tools, experience the same results. Now, given the fact and expected that the tools are within a sufficient quality state. What I'm saying is that a Gravure cylinder will always give you the same results as long as you've handled it accordingly and as long as the engraver supplied you with the right quality. And that is something which is quite unique among all the printing technologies and especially compared to Flexo. I know that Flexo has improved a lot over the years, but if I talk about flexible packaging and if I talk about Gravure versus Flexo, no discussion that Gravure is more consistent, especially if I print a job several times and especially if we print, let's say, bigger jobs, longer jobs. And you know how important consistency is in order for you to stay productive, to stay cost efficient. Whenever you need to stop your printing machine, you are losing money and you are not earning money. Number 3, just one tool to manage. You just need to master the handling of the Gravure cylinder itself. There is no guesswork if something is wrong due to other indirect and additional tools that potentially influence the outcome. And you know, for example, in Flexo, there is other tools which have a direct impact on the print result. Now, if you take a look at Gravure, you just have this one tool. And if you realize quite fast that there's something wrong, it can only be the Gravure cylinder most of the time. So you don't have to guess. And that, in the end, ties back to what I said. The longer your machine is not running, the more money you will lose. And the longer it takes for you to evaluate what tool is actually curing or what is actually causing the problems, the longer you will not earn money. That's why I'm saying in Gravure you just have to handle and master this just one tool. Think about educating new people in Gravure, in Flexo or other printing technologies. Gravure is actually so simple. You just have to explain them what to take care of for Gravure cylinders. You don't have to tell them what else do they need to look for and have to educate them about the second, third and maybe fourth tool. So it is 3 times more simple than any other printing technologies, at least from my perspective. And with all the latest technical innovations, inventions, there is so much more to come and potential for Gravure to actually unlock. And as I said, I'm very much looking forward to sharing what's on the horizon for Gravure and packaging in the next years. You are more than welcome to share your thoughts on a quite controversial debate. I know. I'm looking forward to your comments. See you next time.